Hello, hello. Welcome to our wellness series on collagen today. We're going to be talking about all kinds of different aspects of collagen. And my name is Lisa, if you do not know who I am, and I will be guiding you through that topic today. We'll be answering questions at the end of the call, but if you hear something while either Greg or I are talking, go ahead and chat that in, and then we'll get to it at the end of the call. And so you'll be hearing from Greg Halliday in a few minutes. He's the founder and president of Soul Naturals, the holistic wellness company, herbs to balance the mind and the body, every single product they have. And I just consider Greg and his wife, Donna, just really great friends. And I have so much respect for them, not only for what they've done in this type of holistic wellness industry, but also they are amazing athletes, which I have huge respect for. They've both done the Ironman triathlons, where you see just people going out and swimming in the ocean and then hopping on their bike and then running really long distances. And they also do marathons and ride their bike races. So just a lot of huge respect for me in that aspect. I love all those things. And I just wanted to share just a real quick personal testimony with collagen before we get into asking Greg a bunch of questions. So I've taken collagen for years and years and years, all different kinds of brands and types, from animal, from plant. And a couple months ago, I began taking the Soul Royal. That's the company that Greg works with and has made a full product. And something that I've noticed almost right away is a lot less inflammation that I didn't even realize until I had dinner last night. And I used to, when I don't eat out a lot. So when I do eat out, they use that white table salt that makes me blow up like a balloon, typically. In the next morning, my hands are all super thick and tight. It's hard for me to bend my fingers. And I noticed that has not been happening. Not that I eat out tons, but that's it's reducing inflammation. I've also noticed in my skin and hair is improving. I know it takes your hair 3 months really for the new growth to grow out and everything, but I'm already starting to see some improvement there. And then a couple of days ago, I was out with a friend who has been taking the Soul Royal just about the same amount of time. And she said something interesting. She is maturing and she has, how they call your maturing skin thin skin. She said if she bumps anything, she'll end up with a huge bruise, just ugly. That I don't know if you've seen elderly people, they get all these bruisings and stuff. She said literally if she put a bag of groceries over her arm, she would have one of those marks within just a short amount of time. And she said, look at me. She goes, I am not getting those anymore. And so I thought that was pretty cool. I can't wait. It's a fairly new product, so I can't wait to hear down the road all these amazing testimonies. And I'm sure Greg will have some to share with you as well. So without any further delay, I'd like to bring Greg on. Can you guys see both of us side by side, or do you just see me?
Okay. It's my fault, Lisa. When the recording started, you know how it gives you the button, got it, or leave the meeting? I tried to hit got it, and I clicked leave the meeting. That's why I disappeared from your.
Okay, so I need to make you a co-host again.
Yeah, yes, I did all your work. So I'm so sorry.
That's okay. So as you heard me say about my good friend here, Greg Halliday, we're going to start asking you some questions out of your expertise of being just herbalist for so many years, 25 plus years in the industry. So you've seen the trends, you've seen the changes. So there's a lot of buzz these days about collagen, and you hear a lot of people talking about collagen. You see a lot of advertising. So I had a couple of questions for you kind of right off the bat. of what should we as individuals be researching, looking into as we think about collagen for ourselves. And then why should we be taking collagen anyways? So I'm just going to turn that over to you.
Okay. Thank you, Lisa. Hello, everyone. I am happy that there's so much talk about collagen. Partly it provided a place for all of us to learn, myself included, to learn so much more, because there is a lot more known about collagen now than, say, 30 years ago when Denise will probably remember, we used to, in a prior company, we sold a liquid form of collagen of what I would call more of a common collagen, which was one type from one animal. And that's just what was available. And now there's so much more known about it. So to me, glad that it's a hot topic, because it can teach us loads about our health beyond just some of the stories that we're hearing, because we're hearing a lot of great things too. Like you said, it's pretty new still, but a lot of sleep changes. So better sleep patterns. I couldn't number that on the fingers of both hands. It's more than that have come back and said, I noticed this within X number of days. I realized, a big change, better sleeping habits and better rest. Another one was just, the one, I've heard a couple of these this week. Just happier, feel good. And there are several components in this Soul Royal that are definite mood regulators from different sources, from new sources that have not yet been available to us. I heard something so interesting the other night. We were listening to testimonials, and there were probably 5 or 6 shared on this Zoom meeting. And the leader who had organized it all had told people, they all had their different reasons that they were using a product. Or it was always actually a group of products. A program is a better way of saying it, of products. And the leader said, the first thing you're going to notice is your mood's going to improve. Then the other things that take more time and your body works on them will start to improve. I actually think Soul Royal and collagen, if you have a good supplement, if you have something that's holistic and balanced like Soul Royal, it absolutely should be that way. It might be one of the very first things you notice are things that have to do with just general mood. So those are just some introductory comments. What should we be looking at in collagen? Okay, if it's okay, let me share a couple of slides. So this comes from training from Dr. Allison. And she always loads so much. If you listen to her speak, and for those of you who might be new, she's our chief scientific advisor. She did her postdoctorate at Yale. She's an herbalist, also a clinical psychologist, and right now also a faculty at a university back east. And so she has access, done a lot in research, both funded and adjudicating research in medical journals. So she's really familiar with the whole analysis process and evaluative process. And so I love it when she puts her mind to something. She's always going to give you pieces to meditate on. And that's what I love. And this is certainly this way with the collagen. So this comes from Dr. Allison. This is not from me. I'm just fortunate enough to have been taught this and happy to share it. Here are 2 things that I think we ought to all think about with collagen. The first point is what most people are hearing and being taught. It provides building blocks for a wide variety of tissues, particularly our skin. I mean, obviously the skin might be number 1 in surface area, in terms of tissues and organs, but so it's super key. But look at the second point here. This is the point that I have gone back over and over again and thought about this and just sort of meditated on this. Did you know that collagen signals cell behavior during growth, development, and repair? So my question is there ever a time in life when one of those things isn't happening for us? The answer is no. Literally, till we take our last breath, this is happening. Therefore, collagen is involved. So the state of our collagen, which is, Dr. Allison says, maybe roughly a third of all the protein in our body, around a third of it. So science understands at this point is collagen. So not only does it it does form or play a role as a key building block, but it's also a determining factor in signals and in how we repair. Is it quickly? Is it slowly? And so I love that story, Lisa, of the friend of yours who's got these nice, clean arms, because that's exactly the point here. So this is one point. This is why we should look at it, because it is more than just the state of our skin. It's a lot more than that. Second point from her training here. We make 28 different kinds. Our body makes 28 different kinds. In other words, we have to step back a minute if we're looking at collagen and say, okay, well, is collagen just one thing? Well, what is it? No, it's a lot of things that have similarity. And so you could just think of it as, I don't know, one food group and all the different foods that go into the food group. There are 28 different kinds. I personally have learned over the years that maybe in 5 or 10 years, they're going to say, oh, there's 34 different kinds because science discovers more. Okay. So when we feed our body amino acids, which are the building blocks of collagen, which are the bricks that group together, if we improve the bricks, if we improve the quality of the bricks, we improve the collagen chains. So that's one principle. Secondly, we cannot just eat one kind of thing. It's not just one kind of brick there. In fact, I love this last slide here of this little set. There's kind of a grouping that she calls type 1, which is thick and rope-like bundles, high strength, skin, bones, teeth. Okay, these need to be really strong and avoid tearing and avoid damage. Okay, and then there's another grouping, type 2. It's very spongy. Your eyes, your discs in your back, cartilage, and I'm sure another nice list. I was thinking lungs, things that need to move, it's expand, contract, return to shape. So you have these different kinds. Is any of them less vital? I mean, our eyes are pretty important. The discs in our back are pretty important. So that's the point that I wanted to make just in jumping in, Lisa, then I'll come back to you and there's more I can share, but is that when you look at collagen, we need to, it is worth a little bit of time to read up on the various kinds and think about that for a minute. So if I just go and buy a bovine collagen, or a chicken sternum, or different sources, no matter what processes are used to hydrolyze or provide it in a form that the body can absorb fast, we are getting one kind, and we need many kinds, and they're all equally important. So yes, back to you, Lisa.
I love that, and so much in that nugget of learning about collagen. And I guess you kind of led into my next question is, how do we choose a good collagen? Because there's plant-based out there. There's, like you said, the bovine, the chicken. How do we go? What's the best way in going about choosing a collagen?
So another great question. So if I choose an animal, then I'm going to get one particular kind. And there are some things I have to watch out for. If I choose a plant-based, I need to look at what's in it, because a plant-based is really just, it should be a variety of concentrated proteins with other plant supplements in it that are the cofactors in collagen production. So let me just illustrate what I mean by that. So protein's needed regardless. And if we get it from collagen itself, great, you got all this protein, the body needs to then break it down. Okay, and after it breaks it down, whether you get it from plant, whether you get it from animal, you need these protein building blocks, right? And there are cofactors that are needed for the body to then take that and apply it to your collagen. It does not get just transferred intact through the blood and plugged in. The body actually has to digest it and try to assemble the collagens it needs. In fact, I'm jumping. You can see it's complex here. I'm going to jump to a slide to show this. I like showing this one because I will tell you right now, I do not understand all the chemistry behind it, but I learned this one thing when Dr. Allison taught it. There are 8 phases in this process. There are 8, and each one of these transformations of these supplements that we're bringing in require cofactors to make the transformation and chemical reaction, like vitamin C, like copper, like zinc, like hyaluronic acid has an effect on how much collagen is produced. In fact, many cofactors have been identified. And if we don't have those, or if we are sparse in those, we can be ingesting an animal collagen and not converting very much of it, or converting less than we could. Even if we're converting it fairly well, we could do so much more if we also had the cofactors. So that's food for thought. Now, I'm going to jump a couple of slides. Vitamin C, zinc, copper, some examples that she talks about that are cofactors in here. But with animal, you do have to look at purity, and I'll tell you why. And Lisa and I were talking about this the other day. Lisa, I'm assuming you're probably going to share this part. Am I jumping a question going to this one?
So, I mean, I guess it is a good timing as you're heading into this, because I was sharing with Greg the other day when we talked about this, that I had, somebody had sent me an article, and it was regarding bovine cow, if you don't know what bovine is, collagen derived from cows. And it was talking about the heavy metals that are in a lot of the products out there. And I mean, it went on to list some names kind of near the end of the article of some very popular collagen products out on the market. One they sell at Costco, I've seen them. And so what they were talking about is not only the heavy metals, but also being able to get mad cow disease from the collagen and other contaminants. And so Greg and I were talking about that a little bit, about the contaminants. And also in California, we have something called Prop 65, where they actually label the products with that the high heavy metals. So as you head into there, if you can just touch on that a little bit, I mean, those are things we should be concerned about, right?
Yeah, if you see the Prop 65 label on there, they by law have to put it there if their heavy metals are higher than the standard that California established. So you have the federal standard, and then you have even lower allowed amount is the California Prop 65 amount, quite a bit lower than the federal amount, the federal law. And then you have when we test our products at Sol, where we are, which is much lower than the California, because we use concentrated material, which is the way you avoid so many heavy metals. You can have less plant cellulose, less chance that you have heavy metals writing in there, because you don't need as much material, and you can keep those levels a lot lower. A lot of people don't know that, but a good quality extract, if it's a holistic extract and not one component isolated out, which is just more like a natural drug, but if it's a complete one, you're much better off, and you don't ever need to worry about the heavy metals. Collagen is a hard one because you need bulk. You need a lot of these proteins, and the places where you get them are also where the body stores these problematic elements. And that's why they're so high. And that's why this slide here, Dr. Allison was showing us, you can have reactions. There can be immune reactions and reactions with these secreted antibodies. You can have digestive reactions, very actually quite common with a lot of the popular animal collagens. There are things other than just heavy metals, like you just referenced, Lisa, that happen to just be stored in these deep stores, if you want to call it that way, where you source animal collagens. Those are some of the key reasons. Number one, because we're so limited with the types of collagen if we just source one, and two, because of all the immune and nutritional, impurities. These are reasons why Sol in the beginning made the determination to have all of our products be plant sourced. and just avoid all of that together, because you can find this problem in omegas from fish because of what's in the ocean. You can find lots of clean omegas, and then you can get some that aren't so clean. And so it's just a problem we can't avoid. And honestly, happily, you can just avoid all of this. You can avoid all of it. But it needs some careful combining to produce a plant source that's complete and concentrated enough. Because why a lot of people choose animals, because it's a lot more concentrated in the proteins. They're just getting a lot more. And so they'll risk a lot of these problems, but you don't have to. The technology and the evolution of plant proteins has come a long way from 30 years ago. We can get a lot more concentrated and a lot more variety of plant proteins than we used to be able to get. And so this thing right here, I love the Clean Label Project. I'm not sure if this had anything to do with the report you were sent, Lisa, but they're talking 28 of the most popular collagens out there, and they found them all with, these are animal collagens, with these problems with heavy metals. So we do want to avoid all that. And here's a comment from Dr. Allison on bone broth. Again, same problem. It can just be, it can be a storehouse for problematic elements, even though it also happens to be pretty rich in other nutrients. So let me just jump, if I can. I just want to make one last point, Lisa. Through weaving itself through all of this, regardless of the source, is stress. We can be providing a lot of really great nutrition. And I've known people that have actually gotten pretty good results with animal collagens. Hopefully they're avoiding the negative problems with it, because so far they're not showing that. But stress and managing stress, which is why we put adaptogens and usually a group of them in every Soul formula, always has been the accelerator of good, or the deterrent of good if it's not managed well for people in terms of nutritionally affecting the processes that the body naturally wants to do to rebuild itself and repair itself and improve itself. So stress can either shut us down in collagen, or actually, if we manage it well, it can turn it up a little and actually improve and accelerate collagen, which sounds funny, but it really isn't, because that's the case if we're giving ourselves good nutrition. If we're giving all the right and the varied nutrition, changing and improving our stress can make all the difference. And we suddenly can see a lot of great effects, even before we start heavily introducing like Soul Royal, a really good collagen supplement on top of it. Yeah, did I cover all that, Lisa?
Yes, excellent job. I love all the slides. It's really great to have a visual as well. Something that I was thinking as you were going through these, because we're kind of talking about Soul Royal and other things that are on the market, and what I know you've addressed some things that make Soul Royal different than perhaps an animal collagen, but could you break that down a little bit? Maybe there's some ingredients and things that make Soul Royal a little different than other things on the market.
Absolutely. And to do that, can I just say one more thing about this stress slide?
Yes.
So now, naturally, this is our opinion. It's Soul because we just focus on plant source. It's a cleaner, more efficient way for the body to absorb and build. That was always our theory 10 years ago. It's not a theory anymore. It's a deeply held philosophy that we've seen bear out in results. So I just give this for maybe just for some information, for some consideration. I don't think there's an animal form of collagen that isn't going to actually increase stress load on the body. Stress is either physical or emotional, and the body reacts the same in many ways. So the factors, that's another reason you're going to have to really double up. And I do know a few people, some close friends, who worked the animal and had more digestive and other issues that would put a higher stress load on them. And now the body's got to deal with that. So it is a really important factor here. And I wanted to mention that because I want to show you just one slide of what's in Soul Royal and hopefully you can see that that equation, even though I've only got one slide on it, it's not a one slide problem for a collagen supplement. Stress management should be, half of all the slides, really, as we understand it. So I'm going to highlight these ingredients. Sorry, I'm jumping through Allison's presentation a little bit here. But this is the slide. It's simply the back panel from Soul Royal. I apologize, it's a little bit small, but you can see if you look at the bottom half of it, you can see the 3 groupings. The first is a really unique, concentrated group of collagen peptides, which are these wonderful amino acids that are all used in collagen. I didn't talk about it so much, but even though they talk about 3 or 4 of the amino acids as the key amino acids for collagen, the more science is understanding, many other aminos are plugged in as well with those 3 or 4 biggies. So these proteins have in highlighted in extra amounts all of those important amino acids for collagen, and then all the rest. Purple sweet potato, pumpkin, sunflower seed, and then usually a little bit of an eyebrow raiser, royal bee jelly extract. People like, what? Well, do you know there's some proteins in royal bee jelly that only exist there? And when you, again, meditate on this a little, it's quite a superfood. If you research it a little, it is loaded with vitamins and minerals, many of those cofactors for collagen. And in fact, there's some studies, they don't happen as much here where, I don't know, I guess we're in love with our beef here. But if you go back and look in Japan and look at a few other countries, Korea did some studies with royal jelly, and it accelerated the production of collagen. And a couple of these proteins, as I said, are unique to, royal jelly has no bee parts in it. It's made by the bees with plant material. And the queen bee that eats the royal jelly grows much faster and much larger. There is this whole role of collagen of building, repairing. Okay, it kind of is a no-brainer in nature to look into it. Well, science has kind of borne that out. It's actually wonderful in human consumption as well. So yeah, those ingredients are quite interesting. And I'll just tell you, they have all the amino acids, plus a lot of the plant compounds. I'll give you one example, biotin. Often you'll see biotin, is that B7? And every single one of these, because they're a plant source, they have the amino acids and the biotin. They have the amino acids and the vitamin E. They have the amino acids and so many of these other cofactors that you see added to a collagen regimen. They're already in there. Love these complete plants and what they do. And they don't always have to be super exotic. Pumpkin, I think that's pretty common. But pumpkin seed, you're going to see a huge change, we believe, in the marketplace. A lot more people are going to start to avail themselves of pumpkin protein because it's very blendable and it's very complete, and it has other wonderful cofactors. So anyway, that's just a little. I have to say one thing about purple sweet potato. You have potatoes. Contrary to people's comments on the internet, they are nutritious. And then you have, because we rip on them a lot because most of them are turned into French fries, I guess. But potatoes still do have a lot of nutrients. But then you go up a few levels and you find sweet potatoes, much more. Now you need to go up 2 more levels and you're going to find purple sweet potato. It's just much more packed with one. I'll give you one cofactor, anthocyanins. I know there are 2 or 3 words commonly used with that, but that's one. This dark purple is also a collagen accelerator, among other wonderful immune and other benefits. So, okay, so that peptide blend, it's got all the peptides you're going to need, but a whole bunch of other cofactors. Okay, that's the one I'm going to say the most about. The second one, the Regal Superfruit Blend, fruits always have been, always will be very key in collagen production and in many aspects of health. And a lot of vitamin C, a lot of it is essential because we need it every day. We can't manufacture it, right? You got to get it from diet. We don't eat the kind of diets to get it. In fact, stress kind of burns it up and lots of things burn it up. So that's why we called it, it's kind of our royal fruit blend. We call it our Regal Superfruit Blend. Camu Camu from the very south of America, like a tart cherry, but much more loaded with super nutrition. Baobab from Africa, also very surprising how much more of key nutrients it has than about any other fruit you can compare it to that we commonly use in this country. It is definitely a superfruit. And then finally, acai, that's a berry of a palm, right? In Brazil, and I'm sure other countries. And it has the distinction of not only being loaded with vitamin C and other cofactors for collagen, but it's got omegas. So you're getting that part of it. And then finally, the last group, we call it our catalyst group and mood enhancing. And there you go. There's your 1/3 of the formula dealing with stress, because that is how important we believe that is in collagen, not just production and creation, but preservation of it. Because we can do something to better preserve what we do have. Moringa is the star of this group. It is a tree that has its fame in India and Ayurveda. It is a complete protein as well. In fact, two of the plants in this group are also complete proteins, meaning they have all the amino acids. So that's like bonus for you on your collagen. But it also does much more than that. There's a bamboo leaf, which is loaded in the second most abundant mineral that we're aware of after oxygen, which is silicon. I was shocked when I learned that. It is part of everything, and it's a key part of collagen, and especially lung health. I haven't talked about lung testimonials, but we've had several. Again, right now, royal is a great nutrient for collagen and rebuilding battered lungs. I'll just say it that way. Butterfly pea. Oh man, I know I shouldn't talk about all these, Lisa. So this is my 30-second, okay? Butterfly pea, a great mood regulator, popular right now, mixing it with green tea with matcha, because it is actually loaded with this deep blue. You should see, in fact, if you come out this fall to our event in Utah and come and tour the plant, we'll get some of the actual raw materials of each one of these and let you see what they look like before they're all blended. And they are among the most vibrant of any colors I've ever seen, and by far the most that are all in one product that I've ever worked with over these 30 years. But butterfly pea is a great protector and a wonderful antibiotic, a great mood regulator, and does a lot of other things. I'll save that for another time. Sweet potato leaf has as much nutrition as spinach. In some aspects more. People don't know that. Those leaves are absolutely edible and loaded with nutrition. And we put an extract here. And the tremella mushroom you see on the bottom of the list, that's for the hyaluronic acid, but tremella does much more than that. We did a 10 times concentrate. In fact, I will tell you all but one of these are a 10 times concentrate. We just don't always list how much our concentrates are. But because we wanted to put a big bang with a little material, you just have one scoop and you're so royal, which is a pretty large scoop. There are significant amounts of all these, and their purpose is to provide all the needed nutrition for the steps of conversion that the body needs to go through using protein to create collagen, and also to give you many other, let's say, subconscious health benefits that you weren't looking for. We try to do that with all the Soul products, so that you'll get what you're trying to do, which is improve the performance of my body's collagen construction abilities, but also provide some other health benefits. That was probably longer than that answer should have been, Lisa. I'm sorry, and yet I'm happy.
No, I mean, I'm fairly uneducated on all of this, and I look at this and think there is a lot in a scoop. I mean, to have 9 grams of plant-based protein is huge, and then I'm still trying to wrap my mind around the stress factors that you were talking about, how when I was taking a bovine, it was bovine collagen, and I already have autoimmune issues, the stress that's causing on my body, as opposed to a plant-based where you're only building health and it's so nutrient dense. I'm thinking in my mind, I mean, I eat a lot of those things on here. And if you were just to take 1 or 2 of these things, it would cost you a fortune to make all of that. And it's so loaded. And it's something you were talking about the other day it really stuck with me is you used the term nutritional consequence. And that was so, I really ruminated on that for a while, because we know that, especially when it comes to food, there is no middle of the road. You're either building health or you're not building health, you know? And so I really had to think about that. There really truly is nutritional consequence to what we eat, the supplements we take. So that is super powerful. And then just one last thing, because we have a lot of women on the call, and I don't know, maybe I just heard this and it wasn't even from this topic, but I seem to remember someone, I don't know if it was yourself or Dr. Allison or just somebody talking in the parking lot about women spend a fortune on collagen cream to put on the outside of their skin. And they're thinking, I'm getting tons of benefit. I'm spending hundreds of dollars on this stuff and it's going to make me look younger. And then I thought I heard somebody say that you can't even metabolize collagen in that way. Am I just out to lunch in that? I know we didn't talk about this the other day.
No, that's absolutely true. You can't, because it's not going to go through the digestive, so you can't metabolize or construct it. So the only way it's useful to you is if it could absorb through, like in my brain, and be plugged in. It's a collagen peptide is too big. That's what Dr. Allison, Lisa. It's too big to go through the pores. So if you are spending all this money, there might be something else in the cream that they're using with it that kind of can be some benefit. But if you think the collagen topically, Dr. Allison was pretty blunt. It's zero benefit coming from the outside. And here's the thing, the body's actually really good at making it. The body's really good at making it, but like everything, the quality of the food we give the body is what has to be used to make it. We improve the quality of the food. That's like the nutritional consequence we're looking for, an improved collagen.
Yeah, it's just fascinating to me, and just so funny because people spend so much money on quick fixes. You know, they think I'm going to put this stuff on my skin and it's going to make it so much better. And really, it's the internal that makes the external beautiful, you know, and younger and more elastic skin. So I love all that. You guys on the call, if you have questions, please start chatting them in or raise your hand. I don't know how many live calls we'll be able to get to, but if you could chat in your questions while Greg and I are just starting to wrap up this portion, that would be great. I don't see any questions. I'll go back and look in a minute. And then did you have anything else that we didn't talk about on this that you really feel like people on the call should know today?
I think I might have ran on enough in my answers and covered it.
And I'm going to start getting to the questions, but if you are on the call today and someone has invited you to this call and you have no idea what this Soul Royal is other than what we've shared, and you would like to get more information or possibly even purchase it, whoever invited you to this call today will be able to give you a code where you can get $10 off the product, and they'll be able to help you find all of that. So make sure you connect with whoever invited you on the call today, and they'll be able to help you get all the details you need. So we did have a question come in from Tamara. I lost it. Let's see here. So she's asking, what are the benefits for someone with RA?
Oh, well, that one, do you want to comment on that one first, Lisa?
Oh, no, you can.
Yeah, I
can
just
comment
think,
on that.
because if you think about that, I think Tamara's question is in particular Soul Royal, because Soul Royal actually has this nice, wonderful adaptogen, and probably a couple of them actually, because Tremel is probably an adaptogen too. Adaptogens are immune modulators, so that they don't just kick your immune system at wherever level it is another gear up, like so many stimulants, immune stimulants do. And so RA, which is, I understand that's an autoimmune form, right?
Yeah.
Of inflammation and joint. So that is an area, now not particularly RA, okay, but joint and pain and inflammation, it is an area where we've heard several early comments of really happy nutritional consequences. So it fits under that. With adaptogen, it's going to, with Royal, not only are you going to deal with the inflammation, Lisa already talked about that, but you're going to also deal with the immune response. You probably, with something like that, there's more you can do. You can add some other adaptogens as well. And then all sorts of other benefits that are going to help in that condition, because it's all tied in. We're not these compartmentalized beings, right? Everything's connected.
Right.
And so, but Royal is quite broad. It is really quite a broad nutrition. It's going to do a lot of good things.
Yeah. And just on that note as well, because I was diagnosed with RA, couple of autoimmune diseases, and I no longer have any joint pain or anything way before Royal came out. And it is just what you're talking about, balancing the health, going through a process, taking the time to allow the body to adjust. And I can see how Royal would play into that so nicely. And before I forget, my husband even has a testimony. I totally forgot about it until you started talking about somebody else and just feeling better. And he never comments on anything. He's a pretty steady guy, doesn't really talk about health much, although he's very healthy and fit. When we were in Cancun, he said, "What are you giving me? Are you giving me something different?" Because basically he just puts his herbs in one of those pill boxes for morning and night, and that's all he takes, and maybe drinks a Vital. And I had to think about it for a minute, but I am adding the collagen to our protein shake in the morning. So he noticed that was pretty quick. He noticed the feel better aspect too. So I do have household confirmation on that. Carly has a great question. She is asking, is it better to take collagen on an empty stomach or to use it more effectively? Is anyone taking it with additional protein powder? And yes, Carly, every morning I make my husband and I a protein shake and I add it in there. And that's our breakfast every morning. So yes, I love it in there. But Greg, I'll let you answer the other part of that question.
Yeah, I think I'm hearing it. I don't know which way is better because I'm hearing it both ways. Right now, for me, I don't know why. Maybe I'm just enjoying drinking it by itself. You get that super fruit flavor. I didn't mention there's a little blueberry and strawberry we added as well. That's it. But the rest of that is the flavor of the baobab and camu camu and those fruits in there. So a butterfly pea. So I'll let you know here in a few weeks. I'm just trying it on an empty stomach. I just want to see. I do love drinking it that way. Things do work in us a little different when we combine them or when we take them on an empty stomach.
Yeah, that's a great question and great answer. Rachel was saying, I just heard an experience of someone with that started and felt relief very quickly. Oh, with RA. I think she's referring to the RA. So great. That's a great testimony. And then Satinka said, because it's packed on its own, should it or would it be better to have alone? So kind of the same question as Carly had. She can feel a difference in her mood improving when she has it alone, but when she adds it with the smoothie with Vital, Excel, the other things that she puts in there, she notices a mood improvement when she mixes it into a smoothie. So maybe it's just a combination of all that plant-dense nutrition going on.
Yeah, I think, Lisa, to Satinka's, I actually love that comment because sometimes whether you combine something or try it a while alone, it depends on what you're using it for. And like Satinka's saying, well, I can feel the mood thing more when I do it alone. And maybe when you're combining, it's just all that nutrition. I'm covering it. I'm giving my body lots of good raw materials to do its thing. Both good. Those are both good objectives.
Yeah. Kim said she used to take a bovine collagen product, and when she switched to the Soul Royal, the first thing that she noticed was that her stress levels dropped tremendously. You were just talking about that. That's awesome.
Interesting. Heard that a lot, Kim. From a lot of people.
That's great. And Denise commented, I love it alone on an empty stomach because I can feel what it's doing for me better than when it's with the Soul Complete. So perhaps I need to switch ours up a bit and just try it alone. I tried it once alone and it was delicious. It reminded me, I won't say what drink, but a drink I used to drink when I was a kid that was not healthy. But it has such an amazing berry flavor. So it kind of reminds me a little bit of that drink when I was a kid. Do we have any other questions for Greg while he's on the call? Everybody's just chatting in all their amazing ways they take it and what they're seeing. And Becky just said she started it today. That's awesome, Becky. I'm sure you're going to see great results. All righty. Well, if we don't have any other questions, Greg, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to be on here and share your love and passion and new love for Soul Royal with us. It was very informative and we have lots of things to think about. So we appreciate you. Thank you so much for being on the call. And you guys have a great rest of your day. Thanks for joining us as well. We will see you next time on our wellness series. Bye-bye.
Hey, Lisa. See you, everybody.